Welcome back to Sports Therapy here on WSOE 89.3. Once again, I'm your host, Cole Hyman, and it is my pleasure to invite a good friend of mine, Grant Flick, here in the studio. He's calling in today. Grant has just accepted an internship with the Kansas City Royals in the Dominican Republic to work at one of their academies to look at players and prospects and scout them. I'm really excited to hear about that. But I'll welcome Grant in now. Grant, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How you doing, Cole?
I'm doing great. I want to hear a little bit more about what you're going to be doing this summer, man. Really excited to hear about this news, man. Tell me a little bit more about this.
Yeah, so essentially I have three main roles in the Dominican this summer. The first of which is the working on their Rosetta Stone language program and just getting them a little more acclimated with the English language. Obviously, having a 20-year-old guy there with them who's speaking English all the time is going to be really huge for them. Also, another thing I'm working on is just cultural norms. There's a lot of differences between the Dominican Republic's social norms and what's accepted here in the States as far as showboating during games, but off the field, the treatment of women, things like that. So I'm really just excited to kind of make a positive impact on those guys and make that transition over to single A ball or minor league spring training camp a little more smooth for them.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. So the DR, if you don't know Dominican Republic in terms of Major League Baseball, it is a breeding ground for MLB greats. I mean, I'm just going to list off a few. You got David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez, Sammy Sosa, Pedro Martinez, Albert Pujols, Jose Reyes, the list goes on forever. I mean, a lot of big-time guys have come from here. And Grant, you had the opportunity to maybe find the next one of these guys. I mean, that's just incredible that you're going to be able to see that kind of talent out of the DR.
Yeah, I'm super excited. And as you named the great old players, I mean, there's quite a few young ones, too. I mean, Giordano Ventura, Michael Franco, who just had a huge spring training. We're going to talk about him a little bit later, but yeah, the list goes on and on.
So in terms of international players, I'm sure that you've been looking into this a little bit with what you're going to be doing this summer. In terms of international guys that you're going to think will make an immediate impact this season, who are some of those guys?
Yeah, let's start in the Korean League. First baseman for the Twins by the name of Byung-ho Park. If I'm pronouncing that correct, I think I am. He signed to a pretty big contract off season. A few highlights for him: big power numbers. In the Korean League in 2014, he hit 52 home runs, and in the 2015 season, he hit 53 home runs. Now, those numbers are definitely inflated. The pitching's not as good in the Korean League. We know that. But he did hit 343 batting average last season, and that's absolutely absurd. A few downside things with Byung-ho Park is, as you usually get with power-hitting first baseman, his strikeout numbers have been high. Along with 52 home runs in 14, he had 142 strikeouts. And with 53 home runs in 15, he had 161 strikeouts. So those strikeout numbers are concerning, and especially will be concerning as he sees better stuff in Major League Baseball, a la Ken Giles sliders or Trevor Rosenthal fastballs. He may have trouble adjusting to pitches like that, but it'll certainly be interesting to see how he fares in the AL Central.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, excited to see this new guy come in to the Twins organization, get that chance to start and play and make some productive things happen early and often for a Twins team that's actually really looking good. A lot of promise for the Twins now, a younger team ready to go this season out of the AL. Who else you got?
Sure, yeah, let's stay in the Central, but let's jump over to the National League. Gung-Ho Kang of Pittsburgh. People really talking highly of him, as they should be. Last season, I'll just run through the stats here real quick. 15 home runs, so a good amount of pop. 24 doubles, great doubles hitter. He hit 287 with an OPS of 816. And for those that aren't familiar, OPS is your average plus your slugging percentage. So yeah, he's a good bat in that lineup. However, he's going to start this season on the injured reserve. He's on 15-day IR right now, which is okay. He should be back in a couple weeks, and similar to Byung-Ho Park, he is out of South Korea as well.
Awesome, and I think you got one more for us.
Yeah, I do. Now this is we're going to jump over to the NL West, and this player is out of the actually not the Korean League, the Japanese League. He played for Hiroshima from 2008 to 2015 before making the jump over to MLB, and that's Kenta Maeda. He's a starting pitcher, got really, really good stuff. Last season in the Japan League, which notably has good hitters. He posted a little above a 2 ERA, and he went with a 15-8 win-loss record, which is really good. And from what I'm hearing, he didn't even get that great of run support. So those numbers could be on the low end too. As far as whip goes, absolutely astonished by his whip. In 2012, his whip was .99, and in 2013, his whip was .96. Now, as people know, any whip under 1 it makes you a premier pitcher, and he's done that throughout 3 seasons in the Japan League. And the seasons where he hasn't done that, he's only been slightly above 1. So, I mean, his walks and hits per innings pitched are really, really nice, and his strikeout numbers are pretty great too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see all 3 of these guys making productive things happen this season. But Grant, fantasy baseball wise, you are getting after it right now. I believe you're on.
No,
you got 4 teams.
I've had 4 drafts so far, 3 in the past few days. So I'm pretty rich on that. I got a lot of insight there.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it, man. It's just crazy how much time you got to spend to do well in fantasy baseball now. It's not just pick Joe Schmo from the Reds or whatever. I mean, you got to know what you're doing, and it's fascinating. But, dude, it is the opening week of baseball. I mean, what other than the college basketball that we just got to see, it doesn't get much better than this, man. Excited to see all this. I mean,
certainly not.
Yeah, we've already seen a lot of action go on so far, but one specific thing happened that I want to get your thought on. So yesterday, the Tampa Bay Rays and the Toronto Blue Jays played a game, and Jose Bautista, Mr. Batflip, as some people refer him to, he went to go break up a double play ball at second base. He slid into second, and he slightly tripped the guy with his hand. I mean, it was questionable. It wasn't blatantly obvious, but kind of stuck his hand out and was able to trip up the shortstop for the Rays. And so apparently this year in Major League Baseball, they are really going to be really strict on breaking up double play balls. So what ended up happening was the Rays were able to challenge this play or whatever. They were able to review this play like a challenge almost in football, if you can picture that, and were able to get it overturned to where the runner was out at first. A huge impact on this game. Ended up swinging the game to where the Rays won it, the Blue Jays lost it, and this is stirring up a bunch of controversy in Major League Baseball right now, especially today. Grant, what do you think about this new slide rule and the ability to review it and stuff like that? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, as you know, Cole, and as you've mentioned a few times, I got the opportunity to work in the commissioner's office this summer at Major League Baseball, and I do have a lot of faith in what they're doing there. I know the guys that have worked on that rule personally by name, and I know they're really smart guys, and I know there's a method behind the madness. They're not just doing these things to make fans mad, to make the Blue Jays mad, to make Chase Utley mad. one of those big things is player safety.
Yeah.
And so anytime an organization, whether it's the NFL, NBA, MLB, makes rule changes to help player safety, I can't complain. You look at what happened to Buster Posey. We don't want that to happen to any other player. I mean, think of last year with Chase Utley and the Mets. That's a season-ending injury as well. And so I have a lot of faith in what the MLB is doing. I mean, anytime you make a rule change, it's going to cause teams to win and lose games off of it. And so I'm completely fine with the rule change. It's just going to make the game safer. Keep guys in the lineups longer from day to day and from year to year, and especially at the catching position, they take a lot of wear and tear as it is. Making that contact less is great. Now, I think you're talking more of the double play. And I can't complain with the rule change there either. I hate seeing players get injured on slides like that. However, it is baseball. And so I can understand the mixed feelings on that. However, I do support the rule change.
Definitely. It was kind of funny. I was looking on Twitter, and a player for the Jays actually tweeted, he tweeted yesterday, you think we should just wear dresses to the ballpark tomorrow? Because he thinks this game is just becoming, just even more, it's becoming a sissy sport, whatever he wants to think. But I think you make some great points, Grant. Player safety is definitely something that should be of utmost prominence and importance here. I think Manfred is doing a great job. I mean, everybody's kind of making the same claims in the NFL with what Roger Goodell has been doing in terms of player safety. There's a flag every 5 seconds for pass interference or, a late hit, stuff like that. But I think it does make the game better. It makes it safer. But still, when you first implement a rule and you have those first few instances where it comes into play, you don't really know because you've never seen it. There's going to be a lot of controversy around it. But I think this will eventually just become part of the normality, and we'll get used to it. But still, kind of crazy to see that happening yesterday.
You certainly can't knock an organization for being proactive with things like that.
Right.
I mean, the NFL gets a lot of flack for not being proactive with concussions and things like that. So at least, Manfred's a very, very proactive commissioner. He's willing to make changes, even if they go against the popular opinion. He's there to protect his players in the organization. And I think you can't knock the guy for being proactive.
That's so true. So true. Now, Grant, before you head out, I want to get a few things from you. Now, if you're paying attention to baseball at all, even if you're not, there's a lot of competition going on right now, currently in the first week of the Major League season in the closer department. 3 teams specifically are still unsure of who that guy's going to be. Grant, tell me who those guys are.
Yeah, so the first big competition, well, I'll roadmap you a little bit here. I'm going to talk about the Astros competition a little bit, and then I'm going to talk about the 2 strangleholds that closers have for the Blue Jays and the Marlins. So the competition with the Astros is between Luke Gregerson, who currently has a starting role, and Ken Giles. Now, it's not they didn't come out and say they're still battling for the position. They put it in Gregerson's hands. However, I feel like Giles will take over the closer role, at least by the All-Star game. So the breakdown on these 2 guys, Gregerson's more of a finesse pitcher. He'll throw a 4-seam fastball only 20% of the time. He'll throw a 2-seamer 40% of the time, and then he'll throw his slider 40% of the time, which is well above league average. And he actually has 3 different sliders. That's why I consider him a finesse pitcher. Now, Giles, on the other hand, he'll throw a fastball 60% of the time and a slider 40% of the time. So a little difference there in arsenal stuff. However, in 2016 so far, I mean, it's only been 1 game. He's thrown that fastball-slider combo more of a 50-50 than a 60-40. And the thing about Giles is his fastball velocity can get up to 97 miles an hour, which is very, very fast.
Yeah.
And so I don't have a problem with the way they're doing things now with or with Giles as the setup and Gregerson as the slam the door guy, but just looking at the stuff, I think it makes a lot more sense to have your 97-mile-an-hour pitcher in a closer role and your finesse guy in an eighth-inning role.
Definitely makes more sense.
And unless you get into a situation where your starter is a finesse guy, then you might want to go finesse, power, finesse, rather than finesse, power.
Yeah, definitely. It changes the looks up and everything. So who do you think's going to end up with that job, a month or two from now?
A month or two, I think we'll still see Gregerson. However, 3 months around the All-Star game,
yeah, down the stretch,
give it to Giles.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, you mentioned two other teams. I think it was Toronto and Miami. Tell me about what's going on there.
Yeah, so Roberto Ozuna for Toronto is a 68% fastball guy, a 14% slider guy, and a 14% changeup guy. So he throws that slider changeup combo pretty equally, but mainly sticks with that fastball at a little under 70%. Now, in 2015, he posted a 2.58 ERA, but the thing that I love about him is batters are only hitting 190 against him, which is pretty impressive for a guy fresh out of minor league, hasn't seen a lot of time in the MLB, and to come out and have batters only hit 190 against you with a .92 whip, it's pretty silly. And then to jump forward to 2016, we're 2 games into the season and he's already recorded 2 saves. So he's 2 for 2. Young guy. I mean, he's only a year or 2 older than you and me, Cole, and he's proving to be one of the premier closers.
That's just absolutely crazy. And then who's your guy out of Miami?
Yeah, AJ Ramos. Very familiar with him from 2014 to 2015, where he posted great numbers. He in 2014 he had a 2.1 ERA. In 15 that jumped up a little bit to 2.3, but I'm not concerned about that. Last year he had 87 strikeouts. That's crazy. When you start inching up towards 100 strikeouts in a year for a closer, bleep, radar alert. And then his batting average against, I love this stat, 180 in 2014, but it gets better. In 2015, hitters only hit 164 against him. 164! Oof. That is crazy. That's like 3 hits out of 20. Like, that's a stupid number.
That is crazy. So making a transition now from the guys shutting the door to maybe one of the most exciting things about baseball in rookies. I mean, let's talk about last year for a second. I mean, you got guys like Chris Bryant, Carlos Correa. You got guys that are just exciting to watch. Young guns. Nobody knows if they're actually going to produce in the big show. And we've got a few guys, Grant, that you think are going to do that this year. I think 3 specifically. Grant, tell me who those 3 young gun rookies are and what they're going to do this year for their respective teams.
Yeah. The 3 guys I got on my radar this year are Corey Seager, shortstop from the Dodgers, Trevor Story, a shortstop from the Rockies, and Maikel Franco, third baseman for the Phillies. Now, let's start with Story. And here's why I want to start with Story. 2 home runs in his opening day, and that's absurd. 2 home runs in his opening day, that's great for anyone. However, out of the first 5 batted balls he had, 3 of those batted balls he hit with an exit velocity of over 100 miles an hour. Yeah. It went 102.5 miles an hour, 106.5 miles an hour, and 107.1 miles an hour.
That's crazy.
That's absurd power from a rookie. And not to mention, he wasn't even playing in his home stadium of Coors Field where those numbers are inflated.
Oh,
that all happened in Arizona. So, wow. And facing a pitcher like Zach Greinke, I can't say enough about this guy.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. So who's your next guy?
My next guy is Corey Seager from the Dodgers. Had a pretty mediocre spring training, but as I've told you over and over again, my 2 main rules on assessing talent is you don't make decisions off of March, and you certainly don't make decisions off of October. Now, last year in 2015, he only got 98 at-bats, but he hit 4 home runs in those 98 at-bats and hit 337 with a over 1 OPS. It was a 1.067 OPS, and anything over 1 OPS puts you in a category with Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, and Paul Goldschmidt, which is absurd. Now, of course, that was only 98 at-bats, so that raises the question of, can he keep that up for 162 games? My answer is certainly. Watching this guy, he's got great tools from a hitting perspective, great tools from a defense perspective. I like him a lot, Cole.
Yeah, and your last guy's out of Philly. Finally, somebody good come out of Philly again. I mean, it seems like it's been since like my freshman year of high school since the Phillies have been relevant. But Maikel Franco is that guy, right?
Yeah, and I'm going to contradict myself a little here. I said I don't make decisions off of March, but with the March he's had, it's hard to not talk about it. 9 home runs in a month. Are you kidding me?
Gosh.
So 9 home runs out of 68 at-bats, that puts him at about 15-16% home run to at-bat ratio, which is pretty stupid. And then as I talked about OPS with Seager, anytime you're above a 1, you're doing really well, and he's at a 1.054, which is just slightly below what Seager's numbers were for 2015.
Yeah.
So he certainly has power, not to mention, along with those 9 home runs, came 23 RBIs, so they were timely home runs, timely hits, only a couple doubles, which could be concerning that maybe he's trying to hit the ball a little too hard, not working gap to gap. But anyway, I mean, he's a young guy. He's going to get a lot better. I love him at third base with the Phillies. The Phillies can only go up from here, and I think he's a keystone player for them.
Yeah, I gotta love that because as a Philadelphia fan myself, it has been brutal the past 3 or 4 years in the world of baseball. But thank you so much, Grant. Once again, congratulations for landing that internship this summer with the Royals. Really excited for you in that, and can't wait to hear more about that, especially when that goes down. But really appreciate you for coming on today, and we look to have you back on here soon.
Certainly. See you next week.
All right, man. Have a good one. All right, we're going to go to a quick break, but when I come back, I will be joined with Adam Willits, a UNC diehard fan, also coaches with me at Western Alamance High School. He took the trip all the way down to Houston for the Final Four. Can't wait to hear what the atmosphere was like and reactions from the Final Four from Adam when we come back here on Sports Therapy.